Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Newsroom. I'm your host, Khalid. Today is the 20th of October 2022, and these are the stories that we'll be discussing in detail during the course of the show. We'll begin with the latest as far as Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir and the attitude of India towards the Muslims in its country is concerned. Now, the United Nations Chief Antonio Guterres has chided India during a visit to India on Wednesday. He was talking at a media brief, and there he talked about the Indian human rights record, which critics also have said has regressed under the leadership of Narendra Modi and the BJP government. We will be discussing that in detail in our first segment. Then in our second story, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to talk about the FATF that is expected to move apparently Pakistan out of its grey list tomorrow. The plenary is to start today. It will last for 2 days, and tomorrow it will be announced as to what has been discussed and what measures have been taken as a result of that plenary. Whether Pakistan comes out of the grey list, we will be knowing by tomorrow evening. This is going to be our second segment. Then we will be talking about the National Database and Registration Authority, that otherwise known as NADRA, that yesterday launched a mobile application that is known as Rehbar, that is not only going to enable citizens across the country to find the nearest NADRA office so that they could take care of their issues concerning NADRA, their ID cards and others, but also they will be able to know what are the timings and how to go towards it. The directions, etc. will be given. So, of course, a step in the right direction. Finally, a security guard at the University of Karachi, ladies and gentlemen. This is our last story. A guard at the University of Karachi has been appointed as a visiting lecturer in the university's Department of Criminology once he completed his MPhil from the same university. It is heartening to see that people from different walks of life do carry on with their studies, even though they are working in different shifts, in this case night shift. Let's begin with our first segment, and that concerns Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir, Indian human rights record, and Antonio Guterres. More in the following report.
Religious tensions in India have dangerously heightened since Prime Minister Narendra Modi's Bharatiya Janata Party came to power in the country in 2014 and peddled Hindu nationalist agenda. As an evidence of mass radicalization, Muslims in multiple areas of India are facing arrest, demolitions, and even floggings, marking a new low in India's treatment of its Muslim minority. Pressure has also grown towards government critics and journalists, particularly women reporters. Some have suffered relentless campaigns of online abuse, including death and rape threats. UN Chief Antonio Guterres voiced his concerns over continuous regression of human rights in India. During a speech in Mumbai, UN Chief stated that India must be protecting the rights and freedoms of journalists, human rights activists, students and academics, and ensure the continued independence of India's judiciary. Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir, the highest militarized zone in the world, has rarely seen a peaceful day under brutal Indian occupation. Pakistan has relentlessly urged the international community, particularly human rights and humanitarian organizations, to condemn India's barbaric state terrorism in Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir and ensure that Kashmiris are given their right to self-determination as enshrined in the relevant United Nations Security Council resolutions.
To discuss this and more as far as Indian human rights are concerned, we've been joined by Altaf Hussain Wani Sahab. He's a Kashmiri leader. Wani Sahab, thank you very much to have joined us. Wani Sahab, what Antonio Guterres has said within India as far as Indian human rights record is concerned is nothing new. India knows about it, the world knows about it, nobody does anything. Let's start with the Indian attitude. The people in India, the organizations in India know about the daily human rights violations, whether it be in the Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir region or within India. Why is it not concerned as far as its global reputation is concerned?
See, we could not see that it is not recognized at the world level. At each and every international human rights organization's report, you will find a wealth of information about the human rights violations in India and especially in Indian occupied Jammu and Kashmir, and also about the Dalits, the Muslims in India and elsewhere in the different Indian states, how Indian state has been dealing with its people. It's not that it's not concern of anybody. The way the United Nations Secretary General spoke in New Delhi It was a courageous step on behalf of the Secretary General to tell the government of India that your human rights record is not good. You have to improve it. You have to go back to your ancestors, what Gandhi taught, but that is not in practice. We have seen in current India, Gandhi and Nehru are appropriated now this is Godse's India, it's BJP's India. It's India where hate speech is a way of life
that
each
is
and every day. So the Indian government is being cursed everywhere.
Vani sir, we'll be continuing our discussion, but we have to go to a short break. Stay tuned. Welcome back. You're watching Newsroom, and we're discussing the statement made by Antonio Guterres within India as far as Indian human rights record is concerned. We've been joined in the studios by Altaf Hussain Wani Sahab, who's a Kashmiri leader. Wani Sahab, when Antonio Guterres says what is the truth to the Indians within India, do you feel there's going to be any reaction at any time, any place, as far as other world bodies or other countries are concerned?
Yeah, we have seen already the world's reactions. We've seen recently what the German foreign minister spoke in a joint press conference with our foreign minister. Likewise, we have seen earlier the US State Department's report on Indian human rights. We have seen already the Amnesty International's report in September, which has dealt with on the situation in not only in Indian-occupied Kashmir but also in India. And most recently, yesterday, we saw that when the Indians stopped a Kashmiri journalist, Sana Matu, while traveling, she was traveling to New York to receive an award, and then Amnesty International again came with a press release and also an urgent appeal asking government of India that you have restricted all the people from Indian-occupied Kashmir to travel abroad. So this is a heinous crime on behalf of India. People have, we have seen in different capitals, there are people who are speaking against these and who have documented this. I will tell you, from November 7th to 18th, there will be the UPR, Universal Periodic Review, in the United Nations Human Rights Council, of which India is a member. As what Antonio Guterres has himself said, that India, being a member of Human Rights Council, has a duty to promote and protect human rights. And while seeking the membership, the commitments India made, India has not fulfilled those commitments. And now the whole international civil society has written to the government of India in parallel reports to the UPR that what government of India promised and what government of India has been doing. And since then, Indian government has introduced more draconian laws in Indian-occupied Kashmir and in India to restrict the freedom of expression, to restrict freedom of press, to restrict each and every right which the people have. You might have seen only 2 days back a photograph of a person who is been in jail for last 26 years. He's in jail. He has undergone 3 major surgeries, but he has been hospitalized, but he is handcuffed. So it is against the ruling of the Supreme Court of India. Supreme Court of India says that nobody can be handcuffed while he is under trial, or if he is convicted, he should not be under trial, not to talk of under trial to handcuff him. So Indian government has smashed each and every human rights of the people of Indian-occupied Kashmir and that of the minorities in India. The unfortunate part is that all the civil society in India, we have seen like Rana Oyub, we have seen Arundhati Rai and people like that, Gautam Naulakha. Now he is facing sedition charges. He is in Indian jail. He is of cancer patient. We saw 2 months back a saint, one who was also fighting for the rights of the Christians and minorities. He died in a prison. He was not provided the medical facilities like we saw a few days back. Sayyid Altaf Shah, who's Kashmiri leader, he died in a prison. He was not provided any medical facilities. So his story appeared in the Washington Post. All media gave the coverage to that the Kashmiri leader was not provided proper medical care by the government of India.
But you know, Wani Sahab, it's one thing to give media coverage, to take out reports on the human rights abuses. It's another thing altogether to act
You see, everything starts from here. When we see in India, the Antonio Guterres speaking against the
that is a huge thing, yes.
Indian human rights record, and now as the India will be coming under scrutiny at the United Nations Human Rights Council, it will give courage to different countries also to speak of the India's human rights record, the violation India has done, and the obligations which India has not fulfilled. People will speak on that. And likewise, you see, we cannot say that somebody can catch them there. There are steps to go it. I am of the opinion that there is a large understanding at the international level, and in past few months, I could say it has increased. It has increased by the way our foreign minister, our prime minister, wherever prime minister went, and foreign minister, wherever he went, he talked about Kashmir in detail, and he gave a befitting reply to each and everybody when it comes to Kashmir and other conflicts around the globe. So I think that has created a greater awareness, and I am hopeful that international community will have to come to them. As Antonio Guterres also said, and everybody says, that peace in this region is impossible without the solution to the Kashmir problem. So if you want sustainable goal, he talked about the SDGs, he talked about the Millennium Development Goals, but how they can be fulfilled? They cannot be fulfilled until and unless there is a solution to the conflict.
That is true. Vanisa, of course, solution to the conflict is the most paramount thing, and the fact that Antonio Guterres talks about the Indian rights abuses within India also calls highly for the way the United Nations Secretary General is trying to move forward as far as to create some kind of solution to this lingering issue is concerned. But what I would like to also ask you is the current human rights abuses that have been going on, especially since the last few years, do you feel it is also influencing autocratic populist regimes in the country, in the world? We are seeing a lot of rightist movements within the world that are slowly and steadily gaining momentum.
That's what we were talking in the sidelines of the show also, that currently we have seen the rise of right wing around the globe in different countries. The people at the helm of affairs are from the right wing, and they have muzzled each and every human rights in their own countries. The people who used to talk of human rights at every stage, they are not taking care of those human rights. I was astonished to learn about the Denmark, the way their gangs are taking away the people and are being they are being enforcedly disappeared there, and nobody is taking care of that. People are crying. So the same thing is happening around the globe in different countries. So, but everything has an end. So we can see that these regimes would not long last. If Mussolini was not there, if this other dictators did not continue their dictatorship, so will not Modi and his Nuta regime.
Let's hope that that happens. Nevertheless, Antonio Guterres has also stressed on the importance of diversity and pluralism in society, and let's hope that some kind of a solution comes as far as this pluralism is concerned. As Narendra Modi Sahab at some time back had talked about at the G20 conference, he said, India is a pluralistic society, which of course is quite strange. Exactly. So let's hope for the best. Let's hope that Antonio Guterres, talking about Indian rights abuses within India, has some kind of a reaction for the better for what is happening in Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir and within India, especially as far as Muslims are concerned. Thank you very much, Altaf Hussain Wani Sahab, to have joined us, to have talked to us about the statement made by Antonio Guterres, United Nations Secretary General, in which he has chided India of its human rights abuses. Let's come to our second segment, and our second segment, ladies and gentlemen, concerns the FATF. The plenary has begun or about to begin today, and it will go on for 2 days. Tomorrow we will know whether Pakistan is out of the grey list or not. More in the following report.
The first FATF plenary under the 2-year Singapore presidency of T. Rajakumar is taking place in Paris. Delegates representing 206 members of the Global Network and observer organizations, including the International Monetary Fund, the United Nations, the World Bank, Interpol, and Egmont Group of Financial Intelligence Units, are participating in the working group and plenary meetings in Paris. Pakistan was listed in 2018, and FATF tasked Pakistan to implement 2 different action plans simultaneously, and the country has accomplished the conditions of the watchdog. In June, Pakistan completed FATF's action plans, but the watchdog still kept Pakistan on the grey list as removal was conditional to an on-site visit. The watchdog's team conducted its visit in September, and according to the Foreign Office, it was smooth and successful. The FATF earlier concluded that Pakistan has completed all items in its action plan, barring one. A removal from the list would mark the culmination of a 4-year reforms process that has required far-reaching changes to Pakistan's financial system, in particular to laws governing money laundering and terrorism financing. If removed from the list, Pakistan would essentially receive a reputational boost and might serve as role model for the international community regarding stringent anti-terrorist financing regime.
Now, to discuss more on the issue, we've been joined by Javed Hassan, who is an economic columnist. Javed Saab, thank you very much to have joined us. 52 months that Pakistan has been in the grey list. Tomorrow we will know whether Pakistan will be coming out of that grey list or not. Why did it take the FATF so long?
This is a Herculean task. And normally it takes about 2 to 3 years for most countries once they are on a grey list to come out of it. So Pakistan had to accomplish 27 different task items which the International Cooperation Group within FATF had laid for Pakistan. So yes, it's taken long. I think Pakistan had achieved many, almost all the items well ahead of time. But there are certain dynamics within FATF that probably prevented Pakistan from coming off. It's still, tomorrow has to be formally announced, so we have still not come out of the grey list. But the general assumption is that tomorrow we will be out of the grey list. So I think it's a great achievement, although it's taken long. I think all the stakeholders who have been involved in this process of ensuring that we come out of it should pat themselves on the back and the nation should celebrate this. It is as your commentator said, it's a huge boost for confidence. It also there was a sword hanging on Pakistan's head in terms of from grey you can go to black, and that would be disastrous. That now is removed.
All right, Javed Saab, also, first of all, we had 27 points that we had to conform to, and then those are increased to 34. Why do you feel was the FATF so tough on Pakistan?
Sorry, I've lost you.
All right. Can you hear me now, Javed Saab?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Yeah.
All right. I said in the beginning we had 27 points to comply with. Then the number of points or regulatory issues that we had to comply with increased to 34. Why, in your point of view, was the FATF tough with Pakistan?
There's sort of internal dynamics of FATF. There is obviously a certain amount of politics that is involved. There are countries which we know are relatively hostile, or one particular country which has a say in FATF, which is particularly hostile towards Pakistan. So it is part of it was political pressures that do operate in such organizations, unfortunately. But the important thing is that we have managed to achieve all of them. One of them was in terms of enforcement, legal enforcement of the action plan, and especially with related to terrorism. I think there were some concerns there, and on some we took action there. And I think once we had done that, it was very clear that Pakistan had achieved every measure that was required. We have to remember it was an enormous task. It was not only banking institution, it was non-banking financial institutions, plus designated non-financial institutions, plus something like 64,000 NGOs. All of them had to be registered, them had to be brought into the system. All the transactions had to be such that it could be monitored and internationally be clear. So it wasn't an easy task. But also what was important is the legal enforcement mechanisms had to be placed in place, and also actual prosecution. And what we did demonstrate in the last, I think, 1 year is that we have been able to prosecute and actually implement the plan.
Javed Sahab, the current situation of Pakistan's economy is no secret. The current government is trying its utmost to take Pakistan out of the current economic situation that it is embroiled in. Do you feel if inshallah Pakistan comes out of the grey list, it will have an impact that could further bolster Pakistan's economy?
I think it has a positive impact. I don't think it completely takes us out of the troubled waters that we are in. It is a difficult time. There's a lot of work that needs to be done. Our bond rates, international euro bond rates, continue to trade at a significant discount. So I think while this is very positive, we are not out of difficult times as of now. We have another 6 to 12 months where we have external liabilities that have to be paid. We need financing over the next 6 to 12 months. But in all honesty, I don't think it completely alleviates the situation.
But of course, it will be a step in the positive direction. It will give a certain boost to Pakistan's economy and all those who are trying to invest in Pakistan directly or indirectly. This said, Javed Saab, in your point of view as an economist who understands economy, what kind of loss has Pakistan been subject to since it went into the grey list in 2018?
I think there's been considerable amount of loss. Many of the international institutions would have been wary of investing in Pakistan. Once you're on grey list, every institution looks at your status. Many of the financial institutions would have been careful to invest, so the allocations to Pakistan would have been less. Now, in terms of exact numbers, in terms of portfolio investment, portfolio investment that would have been affected. There's also the FDI, foreign direct investment. Again, if there's a threat that Pakistan can potentially go into a blacklist, many of the foreign direct investors would have been a bit nervous or a bit careful to invest in Pakistan. Now, once this is removed, it does open up the potential of many of these FDIs starting to come up to consider that. So I think there it is important. Pakistan's FDI in the recent past has come down quite sharply. Part of it is the difficulties that we are facing. Hopefully, once those difficulties are removed and we don't have this grey listing, I think we should see some positive inflows into the country.
All right, inshallah, if Pakistan, of course, will come out of the grey list by tomorrow evening, we'll know, of course, when the decision is made officially. This said, do you feel, in your point of view as an economist also, that the FATF or some organization or country behind it can use or has been using Pakistan's position in the grey list as a geopolitical tool, and could it be used in the future as well?
Look, there's no guarantee that it won't, but I think we have to be very careful. I think there were some warnings in terms of terror financing and also in terms of money laundering. I think there's much less chance of it. I think given what we have undertaken, and we have systems in place, we have law enforcement mechanisms in place, we have the registration of all banking institutions, non-banking institutions, and non-financial institutions. Given all that we have done, and we also have enacted laws which take care of money laundering and anti-terror financing, I think it would be very difficult to go back we are well ahead of many other countries which are not in the grey list. So I think we are in very good position, and I very much doubt it that this political instrument can be used again.
Javed Saab, in September, a 15-member team of the FATF had come to analyze the situation of Pakistan, of course concerning Pakistan's grey list and ultimately moving out of the grey list. Do you feel they left Pakistan satisfied?
I think they left very satisfied. I think there's an enormous amount of work that has been done. As I said, there are so many different components. One can list them all, but suffice to say that it was a very comprehensive effort, not by just one part of the government, by several parts of the government, but there were several stakeholders in this, and the provinces. And the review and the on-ground inspection was quite thorough, and from everything I have heard, they left very satisfied. So I'd be surprised if we don't get flying colors tomorrow. And I think not only will we be out of the list, it would be interesting to see what the comments are, and those comments will be very positive, I imagine.
We'll of course all be looking forward to those comments tomorrow evening. But one of the factors on which the FATF has been quite adamant recently is the reforms in the AML CFT regime. How important is the continued sustainability of these reforms for Pakistan?
Look, these are not only important in terms of remaining out of FATF, these are good for us. Anti-money laundering laws are something which, as a responsible country, and anti-terrorism financing is something which is critically important that we take as being very serious, and they actually improve our systems. It has to be also said, the documentation process that has taken place helps in our tax collection as well, because we have much more transparency in terms of what transactions are taking place, who are making those transactions. So everything is actually being documented, and that is something which has benefits beyond just the FATF.
All right, Javed Sahab, also all the factors that Pakistan has complied with the 34 important points that the FATF had put forward to Pakistan for it to come out of the current grey list. Do you feel this is going to remain as a test or a benchmark for Pakistan in the future as well, in order to continue to sustain itself economically, and of course to sustain itself in the eyes of organizations such as the FATF?
I think we have now already put the systems in place. I think not only have we met the FATF requirements, we are also meeting IMF requirements. They also have concerns, or have had concerns with regards to anti-money laundering. So it's not only just one organization. There's the Asia Group that also has a look at it. So we have worked for a number of
all right.
You're asking.
Yes.
It will be sustainable. I'm pretty certain it will be sustainable.
Javed Hassan Sahab, we all look forward to tomorrow evening to the result of the plenary, and all eyes of course will be on Pakistan coming out of the grey list. We all hope that happens, because Pakistan has complied with all the points that were put forward by the FATF. The team came in September and has left quite satisfied with the way Pakistan has moved forward. Once Pakistan comes out of it, we can look forward to a more robust Pakistan economically, and maybe some kind of strengthening of economic reforms for Pakistan as well. Do you feel, final question, short answer if it's possible, Javed Hassan Saab, do you feel economic reforms need to be adhered to by the current and all future governments in a manner that makes Pakistan a leading example as far as countries that have come out of the grey list and continue to stay out of the grey list?
Omar Saab, short answer, absolutely so. We have to. It is not only to stay out of the grey list and to conform to international standards, but it's important for us as a nation and for our own efficiency and for performance of the economy. So it's not only we do it for others, we do it for our own benefit.
All right, thank you very much, Javed Hassan Saab, economic columnist, talking to us about the FATF plenary that, if hasn't begun by now, is going to begin very shortly. It's going to be a 2-day plenary, and tomorrow we are going to know at the end of this plenary as to when Pakistan comes out of this grey list, or whether it has already come out of the grey list or not. All eyes are on it. Pakistan has complied with the 34 points that the FATF had put forward, and the team, as I said before in this very segment, had come in September to have a look look at it and went back apparently quite satisfied. So of course tomorrow is going to be a big day for Pakistan and of course the FATF as well. With that we come to an end of today's newsroom. As I always end my show, kindly be careful for all those 33 million people who have been subjected to the atrocities followed by the earthquakes in, not the earthquake rather, but the floods in Pakistan. And we need to help them in whichever way possible, whether it be from a 10 rupee SMS to 9999, whether it be through other means, by helping the philanthropists that are going to the doorsteps of those people, or whether it be through our armed forces who are also helping all those people who are in dire need of help. That is what our society is based on. That is what we as children have also learned while growing up, and this is what our religion also teaches us. Help those who are in need so that we can emerge stronger. Allah Hafiz.